Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to RGL.gg. We got some Highlander action for you tonight. It's RunItBack versus Yeye. My name's Godfather. I'm joined by Jarrett for this Monday night matchup. How you doing, Jarrett?
Doing pretty good. Ready to watch some Asheville. Usually on Asheville, you get to see a lot of action. One, because it's a Koth map, and two, because you're generally more rewarded for a lot of aggressive plays and playmaking in general compared to some of the other Koth maps that might be in the pool. So it's always a treat to see a little bit of a change of pace in the way that teams will try to tackle on this map.
Absolutely, and a lot of opportunity for big plays from the flank, which is always fun to see. Especially Scout and Soldier getting in, getting behind, being a nuisance. Excited to see what these players are able to do. But as we continue to watch people funnel into the server, anything specific you want to talk about early on here tonight?
Well, I suppose it's important to probably go over the match of the teams or really early on in the season, week 2. So if you haven't been paying close attention to the off season, even if you have, maybe some teams make some changes last minute that you didn't know about. It's important to go over the rosters. I'll go over the roster for RunItBack first. It is Rebel on Scout, Poseidon on Soldier, Charizard on Pyro, KJR on Demo, Chalk on Heavy, Grin on NG, TJ on Medic, Arbiter on Sniper, and Zero on Spy.
There you go, and for Yeye, it is Wet on Scout, Voyager on Soldier, Pyro is Exile, Puppy21 on Demo Man, Heavy's Yeye, Engineer tonight is a Ringer, that's Blanket, Medic is Sakura, Sniper is Michael PC1, and Spy is Yeezy.
Some familiar names on the field. There's some fresh ones and new ones too, I'm pretty sure. A lot of Yee went through the qualifiers, so it makes sense. There's some move up players in there like Wet and Voyager, but also some names that are pretty familiar, like Exile and Michael PC1 have a plethora of invite experience. So it's quite the melting pot of players, that team. But RunItBack has some pretty solid players. Haven't quite made their mark, I don't think, yet in invite and very distinguished and accomplished placements, but nonetheless plenty of seasons to kind of know their way around most of these maps. It's quite the matchup of one team that is pretty well rounded, and then the other team has some new players but has some really experienced players as well. So quite the matchup.
Quite the matchup indeed. Both these teams, as you've mentioned, coming in at 0-1, so winner will become even. And early wins can be oh so important when it comes to getting those cherished playoff spots. It's pretty likely that the first 2 seeds for this season are pretty solid in their stature, but the battle for 3 and 4 is going to be a tight race. So again, getting a win here is going to be very big for these teams.
It's even more important than sixes, for example, because you only play each of these teams once. You can't play them once and then kind of be like, oh, okay, we kind of know, we have some experience, we know what we want to change, what we want to do the next time around. No, there's no next time around. If you don't hit your mark tonight, that's it. That's your one chance versus this team. That's your chance at getting the victory and maybe even upsetting if you're the underdog team. And it's your one chance at making sure your win is solidified to put yourself in the playoff race. Talking about underdog teams, since Yee is the qualifier team, they are probably the underdog here. RunItBack is probably the team that people are expecting to win. Although the match predictions that are going on right now seem, pretty even. There's actually an extremely small difference between what people are thinking that's going to happen in this match, but we actually don't have to wait too much longer. Maybe teams are starting to ready up. I think we just got baited. It's not actually starting, but the fact that it gets that close, and there's only a matter of time before we get the ball rolling.
Yep, excited to have this ready up soon. People, I think TJ is saying it's not 45 quite yet, so we have to wait until then. But the side of RunItBack has readied up. They want to get this started and have the action begin. So again, it shouldn't be too much longer. What are you expecting in terms of a score, perhaps, or if not, anybody who's going to be a real difference maker here as we do get baited again?
I'll say maybe 3-1 for RunItBack. Mostly until we see a particular player on either team be the carry for their team. Probably looking at the flank, like the Scout and Soldier for each side in terms of initial performance. Those are generally classes that across the board throughout multiple teams are pretty important for the side of Asheville, or for the map of Asheville, just because of how aggressive a map it can be. It's very important to be able to make plays to collect kills while also trying to stay alive as much as possible because it can be pretty hard to take back a point without expending some resources to be able to do so. And those are definitely classes that initiate full force and can die for their level of aggression and playmaking and space creating that their team needs to find success. So the more skilled and accomplished and uh, plays you're able to make on those two classes in Scout and Soldier can definitely make or break whether or not the point that you take is going to be short-lived or for the long haul, letting you collect the round.
Absolutely. Flank's going to be an area to watch here, as is, I think, the sniper matchup. You have Michael PC1 for the side of Yeye versus Arbiter on RunItBack. Now, I don't know Arbiter too well,
I think
but
Arbiter is in one of the move ups on Run It Back. But there's only two. That is something to point out that you notice that I think the two of the move ups on Run It Back that they do have that are like, or maybe not move ups per se, but are still like in their first year are Sniper and Medic, which are pretty important classes. So that Sniper matchup is actually pretty neat to look at.
yeah, Michael PC1 really needs to carry some weight here, especially when we've talked about RunItBack probably having an advantage here. It's not for sure 4-0 necessarily. There's definitely a shot for the side of Yeye to get some rounds, maybe steal a win. But having that sniper, finding those picks, getting good work in is going to be all the more important, especially when you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna wait until after the first half before I like definitively call it, even though I've kind of already made my pred. Just because these are, like new to the eyes of a lot of players, and especially me for sure. But some teams are cough teams, some teams are payload teams, some teams are pretty well rounded. So just because you look at a team on paper doesn't necessarily mean that this matchup tonight versus the two teams with their play styles on this map is going to necessarily mean that the obvious thing is going to explicitly happen. So definitely going to keep my eyes peeled for some playmakers on Yeye to show that even despite them probably being the underdogs on paper, that they still have some fight in them to try to take the match.
Absolutely, and it's not to say that these are all inexperienced players. We've mentioned Michael PC1, Exile, others. There are plenty of great players on both these teams. I'm excited to see what they're able to do. Sounds like we might be getting ready in just a moment. I not to sound ominous, but any last words?
Probably mid fights are going to be really important because this is one of the maps in the game where the demo MGE can literally win or lose your mid fight right off the bat. Like it's so hard to get something good going for you if this initial like 5-second demo MGE is just so one-sided. So KGR versus Puppy 21 is going to be a pretty big matchup in the coming seconds here.
Oh, we have gone live for this week 2 matchup of Yeye versus RunItBack. Getting in onto this first mid fight, going to be watching the demos as they begin to exchange some spam out from Shutter. Teams now arriving. Gotta be careful of an early sniper sightline. Rebel's gonna be on the roof. Michael PC1's gonna be the first to die though. Early sniper pick is gonna be important. Poseidon dies for that. Couple down on both sides as the mid continues to unfold. But it looks like the aggression out of Yeye is gonna start playing a role here.
This is a pretty good initiation from Yeye. They recognize that one of their classes that could slow down the game for them was immediately killed from a bomb from Poseidon. So they knew right off the bat that, okay, if we play this mid slow, we're not winning it. So immediately, as soon as the sniper dies, they just start barreling forward. Don't let Arbiter get any room whatsoever, and the red team was just kind of pushed into a corner that made them continue to crumble and lose this mid. So they have their Uber ready to go, or at least only 10% more to go. So it's going to be probably an Uber exchange upcoming through either Shutter or off bat. So they have that going for them, but still this clock is definitely running down in the favor of the blue team.
Poseidon going in on a bomb, can't find too much. The spy is looking for a play as well, but he'll get found out. Charizard, on Pyro also gets found in the fray. So 3 down from the side of RunItBack, and that's going to signal Yeye. They can be a bit more aggressive with positioning here. The angles they're taking. Got to be careful of Arbiter still on Sniper, holding that Bats angle. He's watching Puppy 21 right now, but gets spammed out there as the spy goes for play. Looks like he's going to get caught.
Oh, Sniper SVS won by Michael PC1 as well, so it's going to be rough for them to actually walk in here without popping early. Oh, drop their scouts to the stick, so it's unfortunate for the initiation. Running and trying to get the source of the blue team. Going to get Michael PC1 pretty weak, but the counter pop will eventually come out. But so many players that dropped, even the Heavy is going to fall trying to fist steal his way out of there. Ringel Mini buying some time for the rest of the players, but it will eventually fall. And it seems like the execution of the sack and then this Uber exchange is just really not working out for the red team, who I thought were initially the favorites, seem to be struggling a little bit in this first round.
Yep, the initiation, the starts of fights has been clean for Yeye. They do lose Voyager here, down their soldier early on, but then they come right back. They find the scout and the demo. Two huge picks here on Asheville. Now Chalk in a bit of trouble as Yeye is going to be rushing at him with the help of the scout picking up that kill. And it's now actually 3 down for the side of Yeye, but Ubers aren't in play quite yet, so RunItBack can't really take any space here.
Yeah, the one thing they do have going for them is even though that first push didn't work dry, they got enough kills from the blue team. There's actually a lot of openings. They're able to get dot wet, so scout down, and it seems like the rest of them are falling back, recognizing there's not enough space for them to continue to fight this. Actually rotating towards Shutter to maybe immediately use their Uber. They can't block the point quite yet, but here they start to walk in. Pyro runs in, gonna die, which has been unfortunate, so the Pyro from the red team is just gonna actually blast them back into the stairs, up onto the platform. Actually, it's a lot of aggression coming from the red team, but I think they've kind of recognized they don't need to go any further than they actually have, and it seems like this trade didn't really amount to too much except a dry fight opportunity for the blue team to start pushing back in.
Yeah, they're going to drop down off of bats here. The Demoman didn't have his traps quite ready, so now he has to play around that corner, and Chalk getting down below 100 health has to take some kills away from the rest of his team. Here's a spy play attempting on bats, but he can't find anything.
He got the demo.
He actually does gun down the demo, you are right. And even with that loss, blue team Yeye, they're still taking space, and they're going to get the point back here. Under 60 seconds left on the clock for them.
And they'll put demo spawn too, so they're actually going to have everyone and no one delayed a little bit. The demo has to roll out actually as a teleporter, so he's very quick, but pretty much even Ubers. Last time we saw this scenario, it actually wasn't an even Uber exchange. Red team seems to be okay with at least sacking for now. Even Ubers, which is not a bad idea. If you're expecting an Uber exchange, the medic might be in an aggressive position like this on the side of Sakura, and it might allow them to get a really early force. And actually, it's going to be Uber exchange this time with the demo and sniper falling from spam, so this is going to be a really weird post Uber for the side of the blue team, but the heavy and demo falling as well in the middle of the Uber. So many players dropping on each side of the field, but that's to be expected. Red team running forward, trying to collect as many kills as they can. Sakura running away, getting chased. Emerald will eventually die, so that is a medic down for the side of the blue team. The rest of the team, Blanket is just pretty much the last one there. Dot wet, nowhere to be found. I think it was a little bit weak, had to back up, so overall, this collapse, despite both teams dropping a lot of players in the middle of that Uber, and the SVS to top it all off at the very end of the day, it seems like the red team is doing what they can to make sure they're still in this game.
Yeah, 15 seconds left on the clock for the blue team, the side of Yeye. Arbiter just posts up in blue Shutter, takes the SVS, wins it. Absolute dominance being shown in that exchange there. Now we're going to see Yeye, they're going to play up on their batch. Got to be careful on the flank, though. Side's going to go down, Blanket trading out on the other side of things. The spies go for a little bit of an engage. Soldiers jumping behind, getting in position. That's a Voyager. Going to take the 1v1 versus Grin right now, who's actually going to get sniped down, excuse me, as this blue repush is getting ready. The Uber's actually forced out.
They pop out. I think they thought the blue combo was closer than they actually were. Or they decided to use it aggressively, but it's really just the heavy there, so that's all they really get. So now, Sakura, a pretty big Uber advantage with almost all their players alive, only an engineer down. It's a lot of resources to work with to try to push in. The soldier in Poseidon trying to do some work, but actually going to get really weak, and it's going to make it rough for them to continue to get this force. But through the Shutter they go. It seems like it's going to be the play, just waiting to get all their team together, trying to poke around. Actually, demo bomb through, jumped up and juggled in the air, though, unable to chase in the method he wishes to be able to get more than just a little bit of damage on the side of the right team as they back up through the slope. Have an engineer falling, he's going to get sniped down to the side of Michael PC1. Blue team takes the point, trying to get some positioning, but the Shutter's being open for the red team. Arbiter pipe, so it's a little bit difficult for him to get some angles. Couple players dropping each side, demo getting weak.
Zero!
Able to get a nice stab on the Exile. And it seems like this counter initiation from red team is doing enough to make sure that even though blue team got a little bit of cap time, they're able to hold on to this point for the long term, as well as having an Uber ad for these last crucial seconds.
Yeah, that, Zero, he only finds one there, but it's big, and he stays alive, and he gets 2 more! He's absolutely insane. He'll find the medic and the sniper. Absolutely great spy play right now. Chalk taking the heavy v heavy. He's actually going to get the Uber popped onto him, chasing down these kills. We got Rebel on a 6k right now, Snipers on a 7k. RunItBack's really come alive, and it looks like they're going to end up taking this first round, although here's a bomb from Voyager. He wants to deny this cap.
It seems like that spy play was really the nail in the coffin. Red team already had an Uber advantage, but now with a heal advantage too, it just makes things even easier for them to come back from a giant deficit early on to take the first round.
Yeah, I want to go back to that spy play from Zero real quick as we get into this next round. He finds the Pyro, and then there was no way for Yeye to deny any of that spam or aggression coming in from RunItBack, and then he comes right back around up onto bats and finds 2 massive picks. But we are in on mid number 2 now, and we immediately see
right off the bat.
fall. Michael PC1 with an insane opening headshot. He also finds the SVS win as well, and it's all falling apart right now for the side of RunItBack. All of the frags. It's only 2 alive, 0 falls, Grin's the only one alive, and he's just set up on bats right now. Voyager's gonna go pressure him. That is 8 men dead on the mid fight, and none fall for Yeye. That's crazy.
Michael PC1 solo won that for his team, but I mean, that's what can happen sometimes on Asheville, the way these teams roll out. A sniper can get a nice angle on a lot of different players, and the 2 key ones that you could get out of the 3, he definitely got. Only one missing was the demo, but you don't even need it after a performance like that, so TJ dead, still has to, or was dead, so had to keep building up his Uber. See what's going to be a sack whip coming in from the explosive class, trying to get on their way onto Sakura in the corner, or at least around the corner, trying to make sure that this Uber from the blue team is not used. But so far, these sack waves from RunItBack, they seem a little half-baked. I only really am seeing 2 or 3 people going at a time, while the rest of the team just sitting back doing nothing, and that type of efficiency is not what you're going to want if you're going to want these sack attempts to start working out in your favor.
Yeah, it has not been successful thus far. They did have Zero in position there, but he gets found out by Michael PC1 before the sack can even come in, so there was as much spy distraction. We actually see Puppy 21 kills himself, and here's the bomb coming in. They're going to find the force, and a lot of frags to go along with it. Only 2 down on the sack from RunItBack. They're holding onto their Uber as well. Zero is still behind, looking for a frag in just a moment, it seems. Voyager jumping around, solo threat in the air, gets good damage in onto the combo. TJ with a nice surf there, picking up a sandwich from their heavy, though. Still has this Uber to work with as RunItBack will take the point. 1:45 left on the clock for Yeye in the second round.
I guess that's an example of why they're comfortable only using their explosive classes. Get the force, get a couple kills, make the dome man scared enough that he accidentally kills himself. That's pretty effective, but you definitely want to make sure that it's happening as much as you possibly can. The script is flipped a little bit this time, running in with their Uber actually. Very aggressive maneuver, trying to see if they can catch the medic. Caught out, but have to go really deep, and Sakura is already out of there. 2 spawns, only going to be able to get... and actually, okay, they barely get the demo.
That? Did you see that heavy? He hides behind the barrel at the right above the stairs inside. The demo man ignores him or just doesn't see him. I couldn't tell which. And then the heavy revs up again and guns him down as he tries to escape. It just you never really see that.
Poseidon. That's a medic. Last time I saw Sakura was running to spawn safe from this Uber, but I guess coming back got caught out. So. Even though red team are losing this point, they're able to collect a couple kills, 1 being the medic, and now the sniper as well to make things rough, and they're blocking their sniper's spawn.
That is not what you want to see. A little bit of sloppy TF2 early on in this Asheville matchup. Hopefully both teams can clean up their game a little bit. Arbiter and the rest of RunItBack are going to be setting up on bats here, trying to find an opening pick. Will be that sniper's main focus. Looks like he's looking at the soldier right now. Gets a good shot on him. Not too much. Here's Poseidon jumping in. Oh my god!
Solo soldier
there. Solo soldier on the bomb will find all they wanted, and actually finding a couple more as the rest of RunItBack. They do lose 4 though.
Yep, if they can make sure that as many red players as die as they lose this point, if they even lose this point, could work out in their favor for the next try. Actually, demo bombing in, gonna get gunned down by the mini sentry. Michael PC1 with a snapshot onto TJ, dropping down to 4 HP in the process, and that is what you need. You lose the point, okay, but we're bringing down 5 of you while you do it, and with 5 dead, that's gonna be really easy for the blue team to, actually even more than 5, 6 dead, 7 dead.
7? Zero's 9 health.
Retake this point. That's the tricky thing about Asheville. You can get the point, sure, but if you expend too many resources, you're only going to hold it on for maybe 20 seconds or so.
Yep, they did end up denying their NG spawn. Not too crucial, but, you know, sucks for the NG here as we are below 1 minute once again on the clock. Voyager is deep behind on the soldier, maybe looking for a play in the closing moments. And just waiting to see RunItBack. They're at about 30% disad right now. Voyager's actually going to get found by Poseidon, lose that fight. Now here's a bit of a bomb. A play. Zero goes in. A couple of frags in favor of RunItBack. Blanket now with threat on the combo. TJ about half health will stay alive.
Uber ready.
Uber for Sakura, and they're going to actually pop that. It's going to be on this demo. Charizard doing his best to stop it. Will eventually die. Now Chalk has the Missile Steel out, trying to absorb as much damage as possible. Will end up surviving. And Grin, a threat and shudder to this demo man, Puppy 21. He's so weak right now. actually going to drop a couple more here. Zero finds Yeye. Now Exile falling as well in these final moments. RunItBack needs to cap this point out, and they're finding all the frags to do it.
Yeah, that Uber advantage was a good attempt, but they didn't have enough people in it. I think they lost too many players before the Uber, so it was a solo demo man Uber that got like 1 kill. Definitely was not prepared for that to make sure that was able to be the best that they could make it, possibly make it be. So overall, this post in favor of the red team, able to take back this point with full Uber ad to try to prevent this overtime from biting them and making them lose around. Have to make sure the blue team does not get it for the rest of this entire minute. A couple of blue team players dropping, and that's going to make things really weak, but losing their demo in turn from Michael PC1, who's peeking the shutter. Exile getting on point, trying to light some people on fire and create some chaos. Blue team trying to edge forward, but the Uber will come out, but it's a heavy Uber. Once again, another Uber, except from the other team that's not necessarily connected to the players you want it to be able to collect as many players as possible. But actually, 2 blue players jumping underneath the point. That's going to be easy cleaning for the Rebel, and it seems like the backup from the blue team is not, it's not the backward chances you need, but this post Uber for red, getting very weak. Tigi almost falling, get lit on fire, easy sandwich to be okay. Soldier bomb in, no Surf Voyager able to get that 1 rocket to be able to collect that kill, and that's the opening the blue team needs to be able to push in with their newfound Uber advantage.
Yeah, they do have to wait just a little while longer to get some players up for this push, but they will have full Uber to work with, and TJ's not yet respawned, so if they go fast here, it is almost certain they will end up winning the fight. Here's a bit of aggression from Bats. Puppy21 trying to spam out the combo. Now working his way forward. Here's the medic with him. Also has the scout. The det comes through. Doesn't find a frag. Uber is in. Trying to chase down Chalk right now. They'll find him. Can they get this medic though? Doesn't look like it. Demo and Med coming out from Shutter. TJ now alone. Isolated. Will go down as people continue to sack onto point. But there's nothing there. And as it was overtime, Yeye tie this up 1-1.
Another close round, even closer than last time, and that's going to put, pressure on both these teams to try to come ahead at the beginning of the halftime. One more round until we see who is going to take the lead, and it's going to be all decided, maybe by this mid-fight, judging by how close things have been.
Yeah, we are in on this third mid, and there we go! Another opening pick from the sniper onto the med, but this time it's the other side secure going down. Puppy21 also will now fall to the demo. A lot of frags going in favor of RunItBack, but they're going to lose their demo Pyro Soldier here. They have to be careful. That scout's continue to pepper down the heavy. It's being tanked by the medic. Grin is going to end up winning that 1v1. Only 4 alive here for the side of Yeye. Going to lose another as Arbiter picks up the headshot onto Exile. That'll be a 1 mid-fight for RunItBack. And holding
the bomb
on to their medic. Here's the bomb though, trying to even things. Oh, can't get it. So it's gonna be full Uber.
A victory by slim margins, but that medic pick just was the nail in the coffin. Not only is the medic dead, but that means no arrow for the weak dome man, who immediately falls as well. So overall, if that medic pick didn't happen, I think red team would have lost this mid. And speaking of picks coming from the sniper, he's on a 6 kill streak from the start of this round so far, and I'm sure he's still trying to keep the train rolling. Exile trying to bomb in a little bit solo. Michael gonna get stabbed 2 deaths immediately for the side of the blue team. It seems like they're just trying to do sack waves, but they're a little bit off in terms of their your coordination. They're able to get Rebel, who overstays his welcome a little bit, so no scout for the side of the red team if they want a scout on their Uber, if an Uber is the route they're going to go. But blue team have all their players up, have their Uber ready to go. It could be another sack wave, but I really think that with how much time has gone on, it's probably going to be an Uber exchange as we see them start to work their way off the bats to run at the other team.
Michael PC1 peeking this shutter angle right now. Is dot weapon secure? They're going to both work on the point, but now
scout!
Oh no, you can't do that.
It's a heavy Uber.
Yeah,
he's so
solo
slow.
Heavy Uber. This is not what you want to see. It's going to be no frags for Yeye on this Uber secure. Looks like they will be able to live, and actually a lot of weak players on point right now. Charizard is down to just 12 health. Blanket unable to peek the corner in time to find the frag. But now it is TJ with the point and full Uber, 1:45 on the clock before RunItBack in this third round.
Just sloppy execution. If they would have brought a second person on that Uber, the fact that you dropped your scout would have been slightly salvaged by another fast class, but we see another bomb coming in from a team that's not necessarily ready for it, and that's going to be easy force. Only 2 players dead for the side of the blue team. Blanket also going to die going around. Actually, many players, they just didn't necessarily go straight towards the combo, but either way, a force is going to be successful, so they have something to work with, but it's going to be a bit till the blue team actually gets their Uber, all the while, despite the fact that they got this force, they still don't own the point, and we're reaching very close to the under 60-second mark, and with the execution of last push we saw from the blue team, I'm kind of worried about what's going to happen this time around with their Uber advantage.
All the spy, working his way forward. Yeah, Zero's looking for something once again. He's been pretty successful thus far, but can't get anything there. Now Charizard was an opening pick for Yeye to work with, and without a pyro, RunItBack really can't stuff any of this pressure. The heavy edging the point right now is so far successful. Arbiter on a 9k, he'll win the SVS once again. It looks like this cap is going to go back in favor of Yeye, but just 10% away from RunItBack's Uber. They're going to be ready for an exchange here.
Well, they're in the shutter. They're trying to do it surprising, getting a lot of damage actually, but not pulling the trigger quite yet. Actually, as soon as they say that, they're actually going in. Yep, trying to run their way through, getting many kills as possible. Puppy 21 is going to die though, a little bit caught out, and the sniper from Arbiter, who's still on a 10 kill streak all the while, so making sure that post Uber is favorable for the side of the right team. They've lost a couple players. They don't have too many left alive. A lot of spam going down. A lot of players dropped in the field. Delman out alone, has a couple players left with him, but they will eventually fall. The heavy Zero trying to get some damage. Will get dropped to 1 HP, has to duck into lower. This heavy is doing a lot of damage for the side of the blue team, making sure they can hold on, at least for now. We'll eat a sandwich, but the red team using that opening to go a little bit aggressive into the shutter, able to get Michael PC once. The sniper will fall for the side of the blue team, and I think that will mark their departure from this point, as well as the heavy dying over on ramp.
Yeah, Arbiter did initially die from that soldier bomb, so ending the 10 kill streak, but that is his first death of the round. He has been absolutely on fire for the side of RunItBack, and now posting up on that ramp, looking for another frag, just narrowly misses the angle onto the sniper. Now looking the other way, Poseidon did go down to the spy. Another opening frag for Yeye. They need to get in here, and it looks like their heavies posting up, getting ready for it as the exchange on point.
Yep, trying to duck their way into lower to try to survive this as long as possible. They know they can't leave too far away because they have to get on this point with only 5 seconds left and no overtime. Uber faded, trying to run their way back in with the Uber of their own. Pyro Uber leading forward. Charizard trying to sacrifice life to make sure his team can get out and at least survive. Bomb coming in from the side of the Poseidon to be able to collect that blanket kill, and it seems like they're just going to head and go for a stack wave here on the right team, seeing as most of their team has died. TJ, the lone survivor, making sure that he can be up and able to heal people as soon as their players spawn, and blue team, very, very smart, making sure that Soccer is able to spawn before they cap this, because overtime is already there. Want to make sure your medic spawns as fast as possible. Best move they probably could have made. They have a little bit of breathing room because it's going to take a sec for KJR to roll out. No teleporter up quite yet, so blue team have to make sure they're in this for the long haul if they want to make sure they collect this round.
Exile just walks right into Arbiter there, and now here's the sack, as you mentioned, from the side of RunItBack. Unsuccessful in finding too much. Voyager and Exile both fall, but that is not what they were looking for in a 4-man sack, or 3-man, and they lost Arbiter as well. Got that spy on the ramp right now for Yeye. Can't really do much with 27 health. It's gonna remain Blue's point for a little while longer, but we are just about to have this TJ Uber from RunItBack.
Blanket just got an achievement. I'm not sure which that one is, but a red team going in for their Uber. Rotaka doesn't have quite yet. Puppy 21 gonna get caught out. Not able to get saved, and it seems like dropping like 5 stab from 0 onto Sakura, so the Uber will not come into play from the side of the blue team. That is quite the crumble of a defense, and with so many players falling, that is gonna be the nail in the coffin for this half. I can only imagine. A little bit of salvage coming at the end of the day from the rest of the players that are alive, but at the very end, the red team collecting the last round of the half to take a lead of 2-1.
Yep, and that is momentum they will be sure to want to maintain going into the second half, but we have an opportunity here to look at logs in this 2-1 first half. I'll let you take a first crack at them as I get some more water for myself.
Alright, loading, let's see. Well, it's to be expected when you just kind of look at the damage that it's a lot of the explosive classes, primarily the demos, that are doing the brunt of it. Puppy 21 is actually doing a lot of damage, a severe amount, even though it was, a little bit of a close match. He's at 557, which is nothing to sneeze at. Definitely a pretty good performance there. And it's to be expected that you're going to do a pretty sizable amount of damage, seeing as there was a lot of sack waves, a lot of aggression on this map in general, so it's to be expected. Kind of looking at the medic's deaths, though, that's a pretty big thing to kind of take into consideration when you see why this was a 2-1 in particular. You have a 4 to 10 stat line for each of the medics, and that is going to be a pretty big indicator on how well you're going to be doing on Koth in particular, especially with Asheville, because it's a very punishing medic map in some degrees. It can be hard to find a position to be able to put yourself to safe, especially because we've seen on the mids, you barely have entered the shutter on medic and you're immediately dead, so that's definitely something to take note. As for the rest of the stats, I think most of it is relatively close. We've seen Zero pop off a little bit more than we've seen Jay. Probably the SVS is something to look at. Arbiter is collecting a couple more kills and a little bit more damage, which is, kind of important. But I don't think there's anything too damning, mostly because it's a 2-1 after all, right? So looking at things stats too closely isn't super huge. It's hard to really tell a story without, reaching super hard. I think at the end of the day, both teams in all three of the rounds we've seen have struggled a little bit retaking the point. If you have the point, it seems like both teams are doing an all right job at least owning it. Maybe not against the sack waves per se, sometimes depending on the team, but at least owning it for a long period of time to get a huge chunk of time up before the other team is able to find success. So the mid fights are definitely going to be very important to adjust to make sure you win them as best as you possibly can. Because if that stays the same, where both teams are unable to take back the point in a very timely fashion, it's going to be pretty rough to get some time on the board, as well as maybe just fixing that in general. Maybe if both teams can find a way to take the point back in 2 tries, then it'll be a little bit more back and forth rather than both teams just taking huge chunks of time off at a time.
Absolutely. Apologies about that. Had someone at my door. I'm not sure if you've mentioned this, but looking at the kills, 127 to 126, extremely even in that regard. I don't really have much else to say about it, but interesting to see. And it's a 2-1 game. We've had we've had 2 rounds go into overtime here, and the third one was certainly close as well. So definitely an even matchup. Excited to see how these teams adapt for the second half, which hopefully shouldn't be too much longer.
This is where just experience definitely comes into play, because right now all you have to do is try to adapt to the best of your ability using the halftime. And whatever team is able to recognize their problems and find the correct solutions for them in the most efficient manner is probably going to be the one that comes on top. So this is where RunItBack probably you're able to keep their edge just from, well, maybe not necessarily. On an individual level, they have some experience, but I think the most experienced player in the server is probably Exile, which is on Yeye. So it's going to be an interesting matchup to see in the ways that both teams kind of adjust on an individual level and a team level. I think both teams definitely have some room to grow when it comes to their synergy and taking back points, like I mentioned before. There's probably some synergy with less amount of players when it comes to defending at sacks. We've seen some sacks that, as to be expected when you sack in only 2 people, it doesn't really amount to hold up much, but I think we've seen plenty of sacks where it's been a handful of people, like not extremely efficient, yet it still gets like astounding results, which really should not happen. You don't want to see that happen if you're the defending team. It's definitely a slip up. So definitely some room for improvement there, either from your medic or your pyro, or maybe just someone spotting the sack happening in the first place. So adjustments to be made for sure. The question is, which ones will both teams tackle, and how efficient will they be at trying to remedy those issues?
For sure. I was actually going to mention maybe a bit of disconnect on the bombs out of Poseidon and KJR. They found some success, as you've mentioned, but hasn't been as clean as we would like to see at an invite level. But I do want to highlight the pretty outstanding spy play we've seen from Zero, finding opening picks and then rotating around, finding even more. Has been a nuisance for sure for the side of Yeye. I think I just saw someone in in-game chat. Yeye says, Zero, my medic told me to spy check more. And it's definitely been an annoyance that he has to work with. Sounds like we do have the side of Yeye pretending to ready up for a moment, but it shouldn't be too much longer, says Dolphin, before we get into the second half. Other than what's already been mentioned, what adjustments do you think really need to be made here for both these teams?
I think for the most part, it's what we've already kind of touched on. It's been close enough that whoever wins mid can win the round. This is where you pull out all the strats you possibly can. You counter strat to the best of your ability. You play with the utmost efficiency, and then you might have to, like, if you're unable to synchronize things well because it's just kind of a mess to coordinate 9 people sometimes to run sack waves and stuff. You might want to consider other possibilities when it comes to try to taking back the point. Maybe some straight up drive pushes or sacks over to the flanks out of the combo, but have a multitude of ways to adjust. And it's up to the teams to figure out what they want to change. But we are going into the second half to see who will reign supreme at the end of this match. And we're going to start it off with a nice little demo MGE for the beginning of this mid.
Yep, Demos, as always, looking for the crucial spam. No initial sniper picks, med picks by the snipers, excuse me, but they were definitely looking for it. Blanket will be the first to fall on this. Michael PC1 actually found by Zero. Another huge opening pick. Look at this collapse. Only one going down for the side of RunItBack right now, but Voyager is behind, getting one rocket onto Charizard right now has the beam on them, so likely won't be able to clean up that frag. But that was a very clean mid fight from RunItBack. They're going to cap this point, and now maybe looking to clean up Voyager if they get the chance. Still lurking behind.
Yeah, RunItBack played this at a little bit of a quicker pace. Both teams tried to do the same thing, where they played the ramp pretty safe and waited for a pinch from their flank. But the RunItBack flank was just a little bit faster. They were able to get the mini really early on, which definitely helped a whole lot, and it kind of pushed the blue team into a corner. So now in a position without their own Uber to work with, trying to force the Uber of the enemy team, actually going for a little bit of a dry fight this time, or at least a different form of this act of not necessarily flying through the air as all the players, and they're actually able to get a decent amount of kills, not necessarily the medic quite yet, but a drop pyro is going to be a little bit rough for them. I think they wanted that to counteract the air blast, at least some capacity. It looked like he was in it, but Scout and Demo is perfectly fine, but they've lost a lot of players. It's a little bit rough. They're able to hold on to the point for now, but the blue team still has plenty of players alive, spare their Demo to be able to drop off the high ground here right here and start poking on the point as well, especially with them getting an Uber of their own.
Yeah, the sniper is still a bit of a threat though from RunItBack, so that Vent's not going to be peeking forward. They're content with cap the point. Dotwet is in though, onto the combo, going very deep for this, and won't find anything but the respawn timer. Charizard will flame him down. As we see Voyager actually dying to a Charizard reflex, so Charizard finding both flank kills. Now here's a Soldier Bomb trying to find the sniper, will be successful. A little bit of a scuffle on point. Sakura dropping players once again, has that Uber popped out, but it's just Exile to get the rest of it, and TJ lived with 80%, so we'll see an Uber ad for RunItBack as they try to recap this in a moment.
It seems like the structure of the blue team's hold just kind of going out of whack. They capped this, they know they have ad, and immediately their flank dies, and then they're in a weird position where their Uber just gets forced because they're out in the open and don't feel like they can chase. So it's going to be a pretty much lost point for them side of the blue team. Red team coming, able to collect two, Pyro and Sniper. Sniper definitely a very important pick to get as the rest of the team piles on and collects this cap, and that was a bit of a crumble from the side of the blue team to make things as easy as it possibly could for the red team to take back at this point. So they get your respawners, Spy will die, but it's not going to be a kill. They're going to have to wait for it to go ahead and start initiating something. Voyager already behind the blue team, trying to figure out the method they want to do to try to find anything good for them, and actually in the process losing their Demo to slow things down to buy the red team even more time to get their Uber, to make this Uber exchange rather than a dry fight.
Yeah, it was about 20% disad, and now we are within 10%, so a bit better building on one side of this fight here. Yeye will have it slightly faster, but I think Poseidon just goes in, and he
the perfect timing.
That is beautiful timing. The shutter door opens, and he's right there. Yes, in fact, Sakura is actually going to die. Now that's a drop as the Sniper Arbiter finds another, and the Uber did get popped up by TJ there to win the fight for RunItBack. 104 on the clock for them as they try to secure this another round. Michael PC1 will die to Arbiter there, losing the SBS again. Not looking good.
It's a shame. You feel like you need to play greedier because you just lost your like 2 players in your own shutter, so you definitely cannot afford to pop earlier. You're for sure going to lose, but the greed that you were forced to be put into didn't really work out, and a dropped Uber means nothing to really gain from that whatsoever. And not really anyone on the red team died. They still have most of their defense set up, spare the Spy, and a sack wave immediately taken out by Arbiter. But once again, the solo sacks we talked about, the solo sacks have to stop, because it's really not the way you want to go about this, but it's still continuing to be the trend for at least the side of the blue team. So a Demo going in, and that's about it. Just sitting and not really doing anything.
Voyager.
You have Voyager's going behind, so that's something. He's able to collect one, so that's nice for them. But Demo dying once again. Puppy 21 just on a respawn timer, and at the worst time too. It's going to be post-Uber time, but actually not even a post-Uber. This red Uber is just cleaning house. Oh, 2 players left are alive. 1 now, and it's Dot who can't get to the point in time. And it seems like the red team is establishing dominance, and blue team really feeling the pressure here. It feels like things are starting to deteriorate a little bit, and they definitely need to keep things up and have things start going good for them if they want to stay alive, as we are reaching match point.
Yeah, it is 3-1 right now. Zero having another fantastic round was definitely a thorn in his efforts. Exile getting very weak on Demo now. I believe that is a class change, as Puppy21 and Exile have swapped here. Michael PC1 will die Voyager as well, but they did end up collecting that Demo. Dotwet on Scout was able to find that frag, but it is still not looking good. Zero finding another, takes out the heavy, And Sakura and the remaining members of the combo of Yeye, they just have to sit in their own lobby. They can't even come onto point.
I actually like this class switch because you only play the team one time, so you have to win. So pull all the stops if you want to put Exile on demo. Like, it makes sense. You can't just do that later and expect to get into playoffs. And whoever loses tonight is going to have a rough journey if they want to be able to make playoffs. So it's definitely an important match to try to win, trying to work their way forward with the Uber. Have to be mindful of the trap, so we'll get debt. So Uber will get forced out of the side of the right team, trying to run forward. Blue team will counter, trying to bring the Pyro into air blast them back. MyPC1 will fall to the 0 on the spot. So no sniper for the side of the blue team. A lot of collapse from the side of the blue team, putting a lot of pressure on the ramp. Voider running in, getting onto the heavy, getting a lot of kills. GJ barely getting out with KGR0 will get cleaned up by Voyager as well. And overall, a one fight from the side of the blue team. Only lost Sakura. Gonna delay? Yes, they're delaying to let Sakura spawn, but sometimes you just gotta sacrifice a player or two to be able to collect this round. And if it's dramatic, it's dramatic.
But the crucial point there is that KJR and TJ both living that med now has, this is going to be like a 60, 65, maybe even a 70. It's going to be about a 65% Uber ad for the side of RunItBack. Yeye is on spy. He's lurking about. I think he did get spotted out, so he won't be able to go for an opening frag quite yet. Arbiter looking for the SBS right now. Can't quite find the frag as both snipers take their shots, but it's going to be Zero. Once again, comes in. He picks up the sniper there, and that is just, it's been dominance from pick classes. Yeah, he is weak with 98%. He'll find a pack, I believe, might have been the heavy sandwich, but does not force his Uber. Still has about 40% to work with here over Yee's Uber.
Yeah, we'll pop through. Trying to work their way over towards the ramp side to get some damage on the Pyro. Will try to duck into under, but will eventually die. Sniper cleaned up from the side of the Soldier over on the flank. The red team establishing dominance over the point, and the other team's bats as well. So a couple clean kills. No medic to be found, though. The blue team does have the Uber ready to go. Thinking about blocking the point, but I don't think they have enough players alive to actually have a good post Uber. So gonna let it go to the red team and try to save the Uber for when they have more players rolling out and ready to go.
Yeah, it's just going to be a question of can they get in cleanly here, and no is the answer. They get stuffed initially. Exile can't take the ground he wants. Arbiter still posted up in the air, though.
Oh, nice shot.
Down. A nice drop there, but it's only one frag. KGR will fall. A good find onto the demo, but this medic staying up. TJ at 70%, and clock start about even. We're under 2 minutes on both sides, around 1:45 on the clock for either team here. Players are going to start respawning for RunItBack, and they'll be ready for another fight in just a moment.
Yep, and there's no scout speed or pyro necessarily in position for the blue team if they go fast enough. Rolling out to bats, the question is how long it's going to take them for them to pull the trigger and start running forward. The blue team reinforcements are starting to come in. The pyro is in position to do some air blasting. So he's going to die underneath. Voyager trying to go in for an early bomb, getting a lot of damage on the KGR. Initiation from Blake able to collect that kill, so no demo for the side of the right team of the Uber, and it's solo scout. No second player coming in until Charizard tries to kind of poke their way in, but Pyro will, Puppy 21 will eventually fall to Arbiter. So able to get a couple kills, but at the end of the day, I think blue team is pretty happy with the way that went out, especially they're at 90%. They're trying to peek through Shuttle maybe a little bit, or bats with Michael PC1 to get some space, maybe come with an Uber of their own pretty soon here.
Yeah, Michael PC1 needs to make something happen, though. Poseidon does find the heavy. Nice frag there. This demo almost catches out the Soldier there, but unsuccessfully. Michael PC1 posting up. Zero finds a Voyager. Another spy frag for the video. Here's the Uber from the blue team coming in up onto ramp. Not finding too much early on. Dotwet now in the fray against a bunch of red players. Still has the Uber on him. TJ looks like he's going to narrowly escape and once again hold on to this Uber, but we're just about to start passing the 60-second mark for both of these teams. And it's a question of who's able to take the point and hold it here on out.
Yep, a little bit more back and forth this time. I think teams have kind of figured out what they want to do to be able to take it back in one turn. It seems like these Uber ads are at least working out in that regard, but not dominant enough to be able to hold on to the point for a very long time. Uber coming from the red team, bopping the shutter, immediately trying to chase in, and Voyager coming in as well. Poseidon able to collect some kills. The 3 down for the side of the blue team. Docker still alive though, doesn't necessarily have Uber quite yet, but enough players have died that are important, aka Michael PC1 and Exile. It's going to be really rough for them. KJR kind of toeing the line with the shutter, but will die from Dotwet. A bit of a punishing move from the side of the right team. Very greedy, and they're actually going to delay their demo man spawn. So despite there being a lot of blue players being dead and rolling out, there's plenty of time for them to get there, get in before the demo is able to spawn and make things a little bit greedier for Uber. Actually going in right off the bat, able to collect that kill very aggressively. Charizard not quite in the position to be able to air blast that spam on top of the roof instead, and even though they only get 2 kills, that TJ kill is extremely important and definitely their #1 target.
Yeah, that is all they really needed there. And as Sakura stays alive, Zero finds a frag, just not onto the medic, picking up the sniper instead. A good find. Not going to complain about that if you are the side of RunItBack. A lot of aggression though here from Yeye. They're actually going to find the sniper with the crater from fall damage. Voyager on the flank will trade out for Poseidon as we are under 10 seconds for Yeye. This final fight for RunItBack, they need to make this work.
Yep, this is the last hurrah really to be able to get their presence on the point. A lot of spam coming out, a couple of players dropped. They don't have their medic in position.
Oh,
Actually,
no.
want to die from Michael C1, so definitely pulling out all the stops, especially with the Uber to make sure that the red team is continued to be cleaned up. Soldier blasted out of air by the heavy, and that is going to be a collected round at the end of the day for the side of the blue team. So it seems like after this class swap, they're in the game. This is a...
I mean, Exile's top of the scoreboard right now, so...
they didn't even need Michael PC1. Exile's at the top and Michael's at the bottom. Michael's single digit. They didn't,
6 points.
They didn't need him to do anything. And they were able to collect this round.
As long as Zero is stabbing Michael, that means the demo Exile can stay alive here on this next mid-fight. Rebel trying to pistol down, not finding too much there. Snipers. Oh, there we go. Arbiter finding Michael PC1 once again. Now,
Soccer 11.
Careful of the. Oh, no.
Body shot.
Bomb. And body shot combo. That's an opening pick, or an opening fight win, rather, for RunItBack.
Yeah, it seems like that spam was just a little bit more superior for the side of the red team. Able to put enough just straight across the map damage to make sure that Sakura was a very, very easy cleanup at the end of the day, especially with that bomb coming from side and making things really weird. You have to put yourself in sniper sight line to get body shot and a collected kill. So seems like the initial moves from the side of the red team worked out in their favor, although Arbiter falling going to be rough for them, so blue team has some more room to be able to work their way through if they want to take this slow, although it might just be another sack wave coming in, depending on how they want to take this, but I think they're trying to take it a little bit slow, especially because they have the sniper pick, trying to work their way off the bats. Gotta be mindful of the stickies. Zero trying to go in for a stab off the distraction, looking at the sticks, will not find anything. Exile just out here, trying to put some damage on the other team, Heavy getting aggressive around the box area. Uber is ready for the side of the right team, but don't want to Uber quite yet. They don't have a whole lot of fast classes in position. Charge are getting weak. Actually, it's Uber's going to be coming out on the heavy on the low ground. I guess that was a forced Uber, a judgment call, making sure you want to keep your players alive, but will not collect any kills.
No, we'll get the heavy, but the medic did not pop on the side of Yeye, so at the end of the day, not great for RunItBack. Zero's on point right now, looking for a play, but the Pyro is there to deny it, as this will be the point going back in favor of Yeye. 2 minutes on the clock for RunItBack though, and Yeye still has their Uber. Here's the Soldier jumping forward, can't get too much with it. Voyager is going to be lurking on the flank here with the Spy.
Yep, this is what you want to do if you want to allow your team to play aggressive on the point. The ramp is the biggest thing that prevents you from being as aggressive as Exile is right now, as well as Sakura. That's the big thing. So if you own the point and you're able to take their ramp in any capacity, you definitely do that if possible. So, Sat coming from the side of the right team, 3 players jumping in, 2 explosives, 1 fire. Zero trying to come in to be able to get he gets the revolver. I don't even know if Sakura knew that the Spy was on him, but that's a dead medic, so took 4 to be able to collect that med, and collect that medic they did. So, but TJ falling as well from a bomb from Voyager. Where the heck was that? There's too many outlines on my screen to even know where that happened. Both medics actually dying. Both teams going for a sack wave, 1 owning the point, 1 not. So there's going to be no Ubers in play for a bit here, Godfather.
I think both of those might have been drops. If not, they were pretty darn close.
He was at like 95-ish. Like he was...
I saw 98 out of... It was 99 and 100, says Dolphin.
Oh,
so
wow, okay.
Very, very sad to see. Arbiter posting up in Shutter right now, looking for a frag. Jays is not going to get anything on point, so he's going to back off. We have that heavy underneath right now, and here's the Spy. Can't get anything. We'll get gunned down. Here's a bit of a bomb, though. Yeah, Exile and Puppy both going forward. Just get deleted, though. The focus fire too much, but now the Sniper comes back and finds the Demo Man. RunItBack will be without that class for this hold. 1:57 on the clock for them.
TJ made a judgment call that Michael PC1 was not going to peek and swing at that current moment during the sack wave. Actually went towards Shutter instead of ramp to make sure that these people landing on the ramp would no longer find TJ after a shot or two. So then very smart play to make sure that you're not dying to that bomb and make sure an Uber is able to be on the side of the red team. Both clocks, like you said, pretty even. Seems like it's going to be Ubers that are going to come into play pretty soon. Going to get the rest of the players are the blue pin, make sure their Uber is able to do some damage to try to take back this point. We have the flank and Michael PC1 over on the side of the ramp. Michael will die though.
Uber,
side of Arbiter. Uber coming out. Uber exchange done by both the red team and the blue to try to put some damage. Not really tons of kills yet. Dot will die, so no scouts be for the red team. And, oh, Sakura in a sniper sight line during the post-Uber, going to die, and that is going to spell the end of the push from the blue team, trying to get some last survivors. Rebel in the thick of it, trying to collect a kill, able to get one, but not quite more than that, and it seems that is the end of their push.
That medic just walked right into the snipers, loving the sight line.
Speaking of snipers, even Arbiter just kind of walked into a heavy and died, so no sniper for the red team now.
Yeah, McPC1's going to try to use this to his advantage, try to find an opening frag. Can't really get anything. Zero also down. No pick classes for the side of RunItBack. Voyager is lurking behind, trying to get this health pack in a moment. It looks like we do have a
server crash.
Oh, we are back
fine
in the action though. Exile and the rest of the blue team are going to be trying to cap this point up soon. 30 seconds on the clock for RunItBack.
It's a little monk-ass. That was a server almost crashing. What the heck? Either way, red team has Uber ready, popping the shutter. Nice Pirate Air Blast from Puppy21. He will definitely die for this, I can only imagine, but he definitely just hyper-saved his team from disaster. A couple players dead, so it's going to be rough for them. Yeye dying as well, red team trying to take positioning on the point. Uber not quite in play, but it seems like they're overstaying their welcome. Char's able to get the demo, and it seems like, oh, the last shot able to collect that kill. Rebel cleaning up house, getting that kill. Dawa in, not a whole lot of damage able to get that kill, and it seems like blue team, they're really greedy. I guess they didn't recognize how many players they had actually lost and how little of a presence they had left as they sat by that ramp, and overstaying their welcome just made them die and lose their Uber advantage.
And that might be what expels doom for Yeye here. RunItBack looking to secure with just 5 seconds left on the clock for them. Poseidon jumps in, gets stuffed. Heavy dying on the blue team though as this desperation push is going to come forward. DJ 24 health, has to be careful, 90% on his Uber, now 13 health, getting a little bit more spam. Has not yet gotten it, now he gets it, immediately pops, and they're going to get very aggressive here. Grin doing his best on Enchi, but will eat a pipe and die. Sniper finding one more, and that will be the round as RunItBack able to hold on. 4-2 is the final score in this week 2 matchup.
Yeah, that backward transition or lack thereof really put the nail in the coffin, and that was quite the quite the close match. It was definitely, I think most of the rounds were overtime, spare like one or close to overtime, under 60 seconds, I'll say. Not actually overtime because didn't actually go down to 0-0-0, but definitely a nail biter throughout that match, and RunItBack come out on top.
I do want to mention initially looking at, we have second half logs here. Thanks to Dolphin. Exile top damaging with 467. Picked up 13 frags for himself, but was not enough. Just so much damage coming out of RunItBack. I'll turn it over to you here to look at these logs. What are you seeing?
I think the swap was good, but I think at the end of the day, both teams make adjustments. Yeye thought that, let's change up our classes and that'll work better for like play style or experience or whatever, back on maybe your mains or things like that. RunItBack, they definitely shut down Michael PC1. Michael PC1 entering the under 200 DPM club on sniper level classes is not what you want to see. And
17 deaths.
Regardless of whether that's a him problem or like they're hyper focusing him and him not being able to play the game problem, at the end of the day, him being unable to perform regardless of the reason is definitely going to be a big contributor on why they were unable to unable to clinch that second half.
Yeah, it was at some point it just became unwinnable there for Yeye. Zero, I would say, might be an MVP of that match. Was able to find so many crucial picks and definitely in on shutting down the sniper. Just played really clean spy. It's not something you always expect to see, but certainly showed it to me tonight.
The medic deaths were kind of the same in both houses too. TJ, I think he had like a sizable amount, like 6 or so, in both halves of the 3 rounds to be able to just die less and make sure that heals were output more and people were able to be saved and Ubers were had at a more frequent level. So it kind of makes sense that they're able to, the match is close, but at the end of the day, RunItBack comes out on top.
And in doing so, move on with 1 win, so 1-1. Looks like Dolphin is sending us combined logs. I don't know if you want to spend too much time looking at that.
I think it's the same story. There wasn't too much that really changed. Like if you compare the medics, TJ has 7, Soccer has 20. It's the same thing. The demo's it's hard to look at demo and pyro stats because they kind of swap classes and it kind of mixed things up. And seeing how close as the match was, a lot of the comparisons are pretty similar. The only difference on the
Arbiter.
sniper and medic.
Yeah,
Yes.
Arbiter went off. We were talking about that might be a tough matchup. Arbiter being a move-up player, Michael PC1, definitely an established Invite Highlander player. And, Arbiter top fragged with 44, 37 headshot kills. So, props
Definitely
to them.
showed up tonight.
Yeah, they definitely showed up tonight, exactly what I was going to say. Really great pick class work from the side of RunItBack.
I guess Zero did especially well as too, because it's normal to see negative KDs on Spy. Like, that's just a thing. Like, you always have to die for whatever you're doing, for the most part, like, give or take. And it can be hard. You caught out sometimes, unable to find anything. So I think Zero did pretty well. He almost evened out his KD, which is pretty good to see out of your Spy player. It's always nice.
Yep, absolutely. But with that, I think it's probably time we wrap things up here. Jarrett, any shoutouts?
Shout out to the viewers hanging out, for sure. Hanging out and watching with us. It's a fun match to cast.
For sure. Shout out to you, Jarrett, and Dolphin, behind the scenes for us. Give Dolphin some hearts in chat. Does great work. And shout out to the teams, to everybody watching. But I think that is it for us. My name's Godfather, was joined by Jared on the mic for this Week 2 Highlander matchup. Have a great night.
6 is Wednesday.